Hello everyone, welcome back to Let Me Tell You Why podcast. Jaime Schwarz. I am your host, Jaime Jacobowitz, and we have a great episode this week. We are talking all about how to make a film and how to get it into a festival, because that is what I did last weekend, the short film Sandwich Line that I made a few years ago. Finally had its world premiere. We're going to dive deeper into that, plus some amazing restaurant news, a new concept from the team behind Thai Diner, a babka pizza. Oh my God, this looks and sounds incredible. So can't wait to dig into all that. But I do have to say, once again, thank you guys for watching and listening. Last week's episode, or it was a few weeks ago, but the last episode, by far the most watched, by far the most listened, by far the best feedback. So I really appreciate you guys. Like, the podcast is really like a deep dive, what's the best way to put it? Just like a passion project, I guess. And I love that you guys are here for along for the ride, and love that you guys love diving deeper into not only myself, but my food adventures and everything that I do. And it's just a place I get to talk about what I want to talk about. And even though I have all the creative freedom in the world with all my videos, you know, in 90 seconds, how much can I say? And here I really get to, you know, be closer to you guys. And I think that's what I really appreciate. Don't forget, merch, jeremyjshop.com. Let me tell you why merch. Egg salad sourdough merch. You could buy honey teas, and money goes to Muddy Paws to help other dogs get adopted. Go there, check out all the merch. Don't forget, just for you guys, use code AUG, AUG25 for 12% off, plus all orders over $75 get free shipping. So go there, check it out. Tons of fun stuff. But first up, let's get to some restaurant news. Okay, from the team behind Thai Diner and Uncle Boone's comes their brand new Thai chicken finger and drink concept, Mommy Pies. This sounds like a dream. Thai chicken fingers come in lemongrass, spicy, Muay Thai, and coconut flavors. They have scallion pancakes, crepe puff mozzarella sticks, and of course, tropical fruit drinks. Think like fruit punch, mango coconut, and pineapple Thai basil. Thai Diner is one of my favorite restaurants in New York City. It's a place I recommend over and over again. This seems like a dream. I will be going there. Spoiler alert, I'll be going there very soon. I think they open this week. I think I'm going there next week. So stay tuned. I should have a video about them very soon. Spirals just opened in East Village. It's a new bakery focused on all things rolls. So think cinnamon roll, strawberry shortcake roll, pistachio pesto burrata roll. You guys know I'm much more into savory. And what I'm most excited about, though, they do a cinnamon challah roll. I saw people there this weekend. It looked fan-friggin-tastic. So another place I'm dying to get to. Not only does Bread's Bakery have a new location in Brooklyn Bridge Park, but only at that location they are launching babka pizza. So they're taking their babka dough and they're topping it with the house-made tomato sauce and mozzarella. Literally a dream combo. Another dish, spoiler alert, I'm trying to get to this week, so stay tuned. I might have a video on that very soon. I'm trying to make room for it in my schedule this week. Lalico, the modern Georgian restaurant in West Village, has launched a brand new brunch menu that looks amazing. Some of the standouts include, I always do this to myself. I don't know how to say any words. Acharuli, sure, which is a boat-shaped khachapuri with molten cheese, egg yolk, and butter. Ugh, my God. Their serniki is a fried cottage cheesecake, so think like pancakes. And they have a full Georgian breakfast with sunny side eggs, lobio, tomato, cucumber salad, kebab balls, bacon, Georgian cheese, and bread. Home Cafe and Wine is the all-new Asian cafe with an all-day dim sum with pastries, coffees, and more in Park Slope. Think classics like shrimp and scallop dumplings, barbecue pork buns, salted yolk danishes, oh yes, and coconut Vietnamese coffee. All that also sounds like a dream. A great lineup of new restaurants and menus and dishes you guys got to try. I love it. All right, let's talk about some things you may have missed this week. Brand new on Substack. If you have signed up there, you got that notification in your app and you got that email. New York City First Date Guide. 15 bars perfect to impress your dates. So go check that out on Substack. I'll link it everywhere. I have experience, let's say, going on first dates, so I think it is a thing I could speak to. If there's anything I could speak to, it's first dates. I've had a lot of them. So definitely some places. It's very Jeremy coded because it is just a list of where I've actually brought first dates. Sorry to past dates and future dates that you now know that I basically go to the same places over and over and over again. But I like these spots, so why wouldn't I just go back to them? Okay, I made a video. I love the airport tuna wrap. If you watch my stories diligently for years, you know I've talked about my love of the LaGuardia Airport tuna wrap over and over and over again. And I finally made it official and brought it to the feed. The feedback has been hilarious because people thought it's a joke or to think, oh, you're so stupid, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, it's my favorite thing in the whole world. Why would I lie about it? People on TikTok were like, you're paid. I'm like, first of all, like I critiqued the dish. And let me tell you guys, when brands pay you, they generally don't want you making a video where you say it's too expensive and you don't want the fucking lettuce in it. People don't understand this world at all. But why would I make a video about something that I don't actually love? And this is what's fun about food. Maybe you don't like it. Maybe you hate it. Maybe you love it. Maybe whatever. But it will say every single one of my friends that have had tried it, they have all fallen in love with it. So I stand behind the airport tuna wrap, and I made a whole video about it. Go watch it there. That's everywhere. Best new pita falafel shop in New York City. Paulina opens up in Williamsburg, just a few blocks away from me, and it's so freaking good. They're still like getting their systems in place, but like falafels right out of the fryer, loaded up. It was fantastic. I gotta get back there ASAP. Check out that video. And New York City's first Japanese Hamburg shop, a cafe, opens in Greenpoint at 50 Norman. Japanese hamburgers are my favorite dishes when I go to Japan. It's kind of like a mix of, I always say like it's kind of meatloafy, just because like it usually has a lot of stuff in there to bind it together. It's just like super juicy. And finally, there's a shop here in New York City doing it, so go check that video out and go check them out. We actually spoke with that, I think, 2 episodes ago about them opening, or that went out in the newsletter. The last newsletter had that information, then I went there, so check that out. Okay, so let's get to our main topic today, and that is how to make a film and get into a festival. So I've kind of been talking about this for years at this point, because like making even a short film is a years-long process. And I got so many questions just about like, I think because like no one really ever sees like everything that I do, just the way of social media. So like I post about it on feed here, I post some stories here, but after 2 years, it gets a little confusing. I'm like, wait, what is this thing? So what I wanted to do, since we had our world premiere last weekend in Indianapolis, dude, underrated as a food city. I had some incredible food. Like I'm so excited I'm going to get to these videos at some point. I got to edit them, but like gems, like maybe the best bakery I've ever had. One of the most insane dishes I've ever had, this shrimp cocktail dish, like blown away by Indianapolis. So shout out Indy, you guys were great. And Indy Film Fest, where we premiered, was also fantastic too. Like so well done, so well organized. Saw some incredible films, met some incredible filmmakers. Like a great weekend. But saying that, so I executive produced and produced this short film, The Sandwich Line. It's a romantic comedy. It was written, directed, starred in, whatever else by Jaime Schwarz. And what I wanted to do was talk to Jamie and go through sort of like our process of how we made this, because, you know, it was a lot of us. It was a lot of Jamie, more than anyone, I guess. But it was a team of people and a years-long process. And I think for people that just like are kind of interested and don't have any idea how this works at all, I think this conversation is great for you. If you ever thought about you wanted to make a short film, I think this conversation would be interesting to you. And I think just, you know, if you want to have a better understanding of just like the creative process, I think this conversation will be interesting to you. So without further ado, here's Jamie.
Okay. She seems cool. No, she's cool. I'm gonna go. Hi. I just wanted to come over and say I think you're really pretty. Yeah, you. I thought if you're comfortable with it, I'd love to give you my number or my social media, not my social security. That'd be crazy. What do you say?
Zoe?
Very funny. It's Chloe, actually. Thanks.
Wait, what?
That was bad.
So I guess like let's start at the beginning of any film or any movie. Like you came up with an idea. Walk me through
Yeah.
that process. Like what was the process to get to the beginning initial thoughts of one, this story in particular, and two, like, oh, I want to make a movie.
Yeah. It was a feature idea first. I actually was in the sandwich line of Whole Foods, which I never get a sandwich from Whole Foods. This was the Chelsea Whole Foods on 23rd or 4th Street. I
It's
honestly
yeah,
forgot.
24th. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And a guy hit on me in the line. I remember I had this moment of like, oh my God, this is where it happens in a sandwich line. Duh. Like boys like sandwiches. Duh. And then I was like, that's ridiculous. And then I remember calling my friend Courtney afterwards and telling her. And then we were like joking. You were like, what if there's like a magical sandwich line where every time you buy a sandwich you get asked out? And I was like, ha ha ha. And then I was like, ha ha ha. Wait a minute. And then it started off as I was like a little, it's gonna be a rom-com, dumb little idea, and I wrote a feature version of it. And then you and I were talking, and you were like, I want to produce something, I want to get into producing and everything, and you know your whole platform is food. And I remember being like, well, I have this feature, and then you were like, I don't know if I want to do a feature, and I was like, right. And I was like, I'd probably make this a short, and I made it into a short, and then I gave it to you, and you're like, let's do it, and I was like, okay.
You remember way more than me. Like my recollection is, I just remember like how long ago did this like interaction take place at Whole Foods?
When did we shoot this?
I don't know, but my first memory is like I remember sitting with you and you being like, what would be different types of men you would meet on a sandwich line? Like that was my first.
I have no recollection of that conversation.
That we were. I remember. I was thinking about this the other day. That's why I like it jog my memory because everything you just said I don't remember at all. What I do remember
so funny.
is like sitting. We were at Soho House and you're like, what would be random different types of guys that would be funny that you would meet on a sandwich line? And I literally didn't even know what you were talking about. I like. Yeah, I guess it made sense. You're talking about some fucking script, but like it could have been anything. And I was like, oh,
I
I don't
literally
know.
just asked you out of the blue.
I mean, I don't remember what the context of the conversation was, but like, yes, I remember like I remember discussing like what type of men could you meet and like what would be a funny interaction you would have with a man? Like what would they do that would like be funny if I met them or whatever it is.
Oh, I don't remember this at all.
But
I think I
but
started
in my
writing-
timeline, this is 3 years ago. So just to give some
I
context.
think it was. I think it. I mean, I do think it was maybe like a year before that because I had this feature idea. It took me a while to write the feature, but then I remember the feature. I was like, oh, I have to probably do a few more drafts of this, and then you and I talked, and then I was like, I could actually just like maybe make a short out of this, and then I condensed it, and that probably took a little bit, but then, yes, maybe like 4 years ago.
Which is crazy. Like this is what I was trying to like explain to my audience too. It's like everything I
Takes
do
so
is so
fucking
like
long.
it takes forever. Even a short, like I come up with an idea right now, I go film it, it's on the internet tomorrow.
I know.
Like films, even a short film, like takes forever. And even when I was in TV, like the process of TV from, I mean, conceptualizing a show to air is 4 to 5 years maybe, but even producing
Because
it to air is a year.
to make something like good and quality and having story structure and having like anyone's sort of like plot, like every sort of person's I guess critiques or them poking holes at it to like make sure it is like sewn. It's like if like you stitch together a shirt. There's a shitty way to stitch together a shirt that will just like cover you, and then there's like a good quality made shirt that's like really good, like solid stitching that like no one can fucking tear it apart. And I'm like, that's kind of, I think anything of good quality, it takes a little bit longer to go through rewrites, go through drafts, go through detail, go through all that stuff to get it to a solid point. And then to get everything together for production is a whole other thing. Then
Well, right, like even like I mean, that takes X amount of time, and now we filmed this almost 2 years ago, and the world premiere was a week ago.
And
which is crazy.
also, you know, like I think as you do this longer, like you can get faster and faster, right? Because you can write your first draft and already know all the holes that you have to like jump through. Like in the way that like a Quentin Tarantino can probably write something a lot faster because he's been doing this for like 30 years.
And he could also get the money a lot faster.
Yeah, but you've been doing your own thing. I'm sure your first year of you being an influencer, like I'm sure you didn't make a video that day and then put it out tomorrow and it like did really well. Like it takes a long time to like.
I mean, it was so long ago. Who the fuck knows?
Like it takes a while to get the machine oiled where you're like,
sure,
okay,
to like make good stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
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 I mean, also to just like contextualize things like this, we this film was completely finished over a year ago.
Yeah,
Like our
yeah,
final cut was done
yeah.
over a year ago. It just we're jumping ahead, but even the timeline to get into a film festival premiere takes forever. But okay, sort of
So
bring it back. So
fucking
like
long.
so long. But so Rex, so like yeah, you had this idea. I wanted to do something. This felt like something I thought would be easy. Now seeing a lot more short films, this was and knowing what we went through, this was not the easiest script to
But I
do.
do think due to you and like your intel into like the food world and like connections and everything, it was a lot easier to make this with you than like with anyone else.
It
You
was a
know,
lot
like
cheaper to make this with me
yes,
than
but
with
like also you
anyone
had like
else.
direct lines to people and people like answered you, and
Yeah.
it's like if I had a sci-fi idea, you're not the person that has like those direct lines to like
Mhm.
the people that would help with that.
But basically, like for the audience, like we were like, okay, let's do this. And my initial thought was like, this is something I want to do. I produced TV for years. This is a new adventure. I will produce this. But I
Yeah.
feel like we started just meeting with people, trying to get a sense of like, well, okay, it's still a new thing. Like, how do we do this? And everyone was basically like, this is a really good script. Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe it shouldn't just be the two of you doing this, which
Oh
is
my God,
always
wait,
fun.
really? I don't actually remember any of this either.
I mean, but remember that was
I
so we
blacked
hired
out.
we hired Talia to be a
Yeah.
co-producer, and we were just gonna chit chat with her, and she was like, "I'm only directing things. I'm not doing outside projects." And but we spoke to her, and she read the script, and she got back to us, being like, "No, actually, I wanted to be a part of this," and we didn't even think there was a possibility because it was always, "Oh, we're just asking her questions," and she just
Well, I do
seemed
think, and especially
so
after
nice.
like seeing a bunch of more short films and everything like that, like I am in a writers group. I've been writing for a long time now. I have agents and everything. Like I've had people look it over, multiple different people from multiple different subsects, and had it gone through peer review and checklists and everything. So like it was a certain level of a standard, and I do think a lot of people like. Tolly probably reads like a lot. Producers read a lot of scripts that are just like this is someone's first draft maybe, and it's like people think that it's great, and it's like no, there's like a standard that like it actually has to get to before it's like readable. I have a question for you though. Can I ask you?
Sure.
Okay, wait. How do you feel like producing when all your years of producing on Food Network and everything was different from this experience, or like what did you learn from doing this experience that was surprising to you from all your years?
Um, I think like the nitty gritty of it was exactly the same, frankly. Like as a producer, like your job is to do everything. Your job is to manage everything. You're the babysitter. You're the therapist. You're the
Saying you
whatever.
babysat me? What the fuck?
You babysit everyone. Hey, everyone, it's lunchtime. What do you want? Make sure you eat. Do you guys need water? Blah, blah. Like you are the babysitter of the crew. You know what I mean? Like here's you got to wake up at 8 a.m. to be on set, be
Yeah.
on time. Like that is the job. So like when it got to nitty gritty, like it really didn't feel that different, frankly. While we were filming is very different because I only did reality, I guess, which is like you just go, you turn on 8 cameras and you fucking go, and whatever we get, we get. And sure, they're pickup shots, but like that's it. Rather than like one camera, we went crazy fast for a film, but even then, it's like one camera, get your angles, get your sides, over and over and over and over again. But I really, as a producer, you're not touching that necessarily. You're on set making sure like there are no fires while that's happening. So I wanted to be involved as much as I can, but the real producer job is the same. It was more a difference too of just like I worked on way bigger shows, but shows that I've produced myself, it was always much smaller crews. So that was a bigger thing of like just staffing up. I had no idea where to begin. You're also looking for a different type of talent too for a crew, and casting actors. Like it's a whole. I casted all these shows, but it was always looking for like chefs that had personality. That's so different than someone that could act and be on camera and do all those things.
Right,
So that was a big difference, but in the end, it was sort of the same, but a new challenge. But it was like, I mean, on set, like I went into producer mode of like, okay, great, not sleeping, not eating. I had my fucking cup of concentrated cold brew that I drank all
you drank
day.
concentrated cold brew?
I mean, I was awake for like days, so yeah.
Oh my God. Wait, how what did you like better, honestly? Like, are you like, oh, I would love to like now do this on a feature? Or are you like, no, 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 this is like a lot harder. Absolutely not.
um, I don't know. I mean, it's being part of the full process was more exciting because even in a TV show, I don't conceptualize the show. I mean, I tried, but I never got an idea that I had from the beginning on TV. And not that this was my idea necessarily, but it was there from the beginning. And to see something through the entire process is very different. To pay for it is very different also because I
Right,
was the executive producer as well.
right.
So you have a much more, literally you're invested in it much more. Where like a TV show, I would normally sometimes went into post, but post was kind of boring to me back then. Now I get more enjoyment out of post. But it was like, okay, you're hired, you prep for a week, you go in the field, you shoot for X amount of months, and then done, on to the next thing.
Post was interesting. I know we're jumping around so much. To be honest, I don't really know like what's the structure of this podcast.
I texted you this morning. You didn't read it.
But I do think what was interesting with post is like I feel like you and I felt at the same time when something was off. We'd like watch a take and be like, like we both had the same like taste of just being like that hit wrong, or like the musicality of something felt wrong. Like we both had the same like, oh, wrong note. Like someone's plunking a piano and like wrong note.
Yeah, and it was helpful. And at the end of the day too, it's like you were at one, the writer, director, and lead and producer, whatever else, like the dynamic I think changes between people on things. Like sometimes the producers are literally just going to be in the field and then they pass it off and they're done. The executive producers are generally involved a little bit and you want to hear from them, but doesn't mean you have to. I mean, they paid for it, so at the end of the day, you sort of.
No, I was like, I was very helpful. I was like, I wanted your input and everything. Because I was like, I trust your creative sensibility.
And hiring our editor, Kate.
Oh my God.
What's her last name?
Patitella? Love you, Kate. You're a G. You're so awesome.
I mean, the thing was, she sent us a cut and it was done.
Yeah,
like, it took a million more cuts, but it was done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so to go back, okay, so we got the script. We found Talia, who was a godsend, who then helped us.
Did we change anything from that original script? I don't think I changed anything major. Maybe like a line or two. But like,
I mean, you might have changed little jokes here and there, little things, but like the story was there, the characters were there, the locations were there. So basically then it was like, okay, how do we actually make a movie? And I think the steps are basically like, you want to hire crew, so it's like casting actors. Obviously, we had a lot of actors. We had 4 leads, but then we had like 50 extras.
Yeah, I don't think I realized. I was like, it's gonna be easy. This is like an apartment. It's like a grocery store, and then it's like there's like 4 people in it. And then I remember like you were like, actually, like here's the budget, and here's actually what's needed. And I was like, yes. No.
Well, we had to do an overnight at a grocery store. It's not the easiest. We had to rent out a restaurant for the morning. We had the apartment, but every location we got for free.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome. Shout out Mary.
Shout out Mary. Shout out Jubilee Market in Greenpoint.
Shout out
the other restaurant that's closed now, so it doesn't matter.
Closed now?
They closed forever. They closed way before the premiere. It closed before we even had a final cut of the movie.
Okay, well, shout out. It was really cute in there.
I forget what the name is, but whatever.
Cut that out.
But we had a crew then of like 30 people as well, and that's where Talia came in. That was so helpful. Like, you had a DP you wanted.
Talia and Christina truly came in and were just like, here are the next steps. And I think you and I would have been absolutely lost without them, because it was like they actually know the steps of how to get something to production.
And they had the connections, and like that's really, especially as a producer, like that's it. Of like, oh, you need audio, boom, we got that. Oh, you need a gaffer, boom, we got that. Yeah. Oh, we need all this camera shit, great. Like, here's the connections we have, and like, not that I guess I couldn't have figured it out, but it like streamlines it to make sure we actually got amazing talent, and we got amazing talent because everyone was on strike.
No, we weren't shooting during the strike.
We were able. We had a
during the strike.
We were able to get. Because we're a short film and we were independent, we got a waiver saying we were allowed to film. Mm-hmm.
Wow, did I black out during this time? What the fuck?
Probably, that was honestly one of the most stressful things of this entire thing was dealing with SAG.
I was not privy to any of that.
They did not approve the film until like the night before.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's just like the way it is. Apparently, these are like lessons you learn of like, that's just how they are. You have to fucking call. Our lady came through. She was very sweet. They were really helpful, but they're dealing with literally tens of thousands of projects, and they're just in no rush until they're ready. And it was also a very different time because we literally couldn't film. Like,
wait, this is crazy that I'm learning about this now. I'm like, but I guess part of your job is to like hide all these stressful things from the director, who's also the writer, who's also like acting in it. Like, I was like already fucking like dying that I was like, I can't hear this.
Yeah, I had to call, I forget her name. And again, she's very helpful, but I had to call her over and over and over and over again to make sure that we were approved. Because there's no reason we wouldn't be approved, but we literally could not film without it. And I think it was a day or two before. She was like, yeah, here you go, honey, no worries. I was like, I haven't slept in days. What do you mean, no worries? Like, I was ready to go to their office. just go there.
Wow.
Because what we're gonna do,
I
we
will
couldn't
also
pick anything.
say too that like I'm thinking about it now, and I'm actually remembering like I did bring the script in through my reps, through my writing group and everything, through peer review and stuff, and I wouldn't have brought this to you and been like, let's actually make this, unless like everyone around me who read it first was just like, this is good, this is really solid, and you should go ahead and make this. Like I don't think I would have been like, yeah, let's do it. And I think I also wrote it and was just like, oh, I could act in this and I could direct this. Like it's fine.
Sure, yeah.
Not really realizing what the fuck I was signing up for. Um, but I do think like if I didn't have people around me who had championed it, being like, hey, this isn't like nothing,
Yeah.
you know?
But then our fifth hire was Terrence. You
Oh, Terrence. Well, immediately as soon as like Talia was like, we need to do something. Actually, Terrence was someone I had sent the script to. I think when the same time I sent it to you because I had worked on an indie film with him, and he was so awesome, so down. I'll never forget him talking to me about him running the Boston Marathon with no training. Should I tell this story?
Sure, tell our story.
I'm like obsessed with him. We did this indie film. We were having dinner, and he just casually told the story about how he ran the Boston Marathon with no training. He went out drinking the night before until 3 a.m. Woke up at 8 a.m. Went to Dunkin' Donuts, had I think like a bacon, egg, and cheese and like an apple juice, not even a fucking coffee, and bought shoes that had never been worn, never been trained in, and ran the Boston Marathon from start to finish. And then he was living like another mile away from the finish line, and so he just, after he finished, he just kept running and ran all the way home, and then just like broke his 2 feet for the next 2 weeks. And like those shoes are sitting in his closet and have never been worn ever again. They just ran the Boston Marathon and
Which is
nothing
so
else.
insane because you also like, I mean, I'm trained for a marathon now. Like, you don't wear shoes fresh. Like,
Yeah,
the worst
it's like
thing.
wearing ice skates fresh. It's like
Yeah.
fucking insane. You don't do that. You have to like wear them in and like whatever. And so as soon I remember him telling us that story at dinner, and me and him like barely talked the entire film shoot. And I was just like, if I ever make a movie, I want to. I was
and
like,
he was our DP,
Yeah.
which is incredibly helpful. He's in charge of the cameras, I guess, and dealing with the camera department.
And he's
and
very
literally
experienced.
filming
He's
it.
worked on so
Yeah.
many things. And I remember on that shoot, I felt like he just really, I trusted him. And I was like, the director we were working with also, he was like, I got you. Like, he's very much like, he's down to clown. He's very like, let's do it, whatever, fuck it. And I was like, that's the attitude I really like. And I think.
And it was helpful because, I mean, listen, you had a bunch of people on set too that had directed as well. We leaned on Talia and Emily also, but we didn't. Not only is it incredibly difficult for you to be in every scene that you're directing, but we didn't have time for playback. So
No.
everyone had to just watch the scene and be like, good. Terrence had to be like, looks good, good to go. Everyone
And
else
Terrence
had to be
and I,
like,
because I think we have a
yeah.
previous relationship, he also knew exactly what I was looking for, exactly what I liked, exactly like my sensibility, and he just like he got in my brain and fucking knew exactly what to do, and I love him so
Yeah,
much.
I mean, my favorite thing is like, especially for like, I've worked with a lot of people that kind of want to go by the books, and he works a lot of the same people, especially producer go by the books. So I
He's
remember
so
in a
against the
conversation
books.
with him,
He's like, fuck
he was
it.
like nervous that I would be like, oh, don't do that. I was like, nah, fuck it, go ahead. He was like, really? I was like, yeah, bro, I don't care. Like, whatever
But
you
he
think
doesn't
you need to
either.
do.
He
Yeah,
doesn't
exactly.
either. He's very like, he's down to clown. He'll get in the water. He got in the
Dude,
shopping cart.
him in the shopping cart is still hilarious to me because we did not have money for a steady cam, so we just used
Yeah.
the shopping cart.
And I think also like with him too, what I was like, he was like, I love working with first time filmmakers, and I think he also was just like, you guys are all younger than me, but he's like, I'm down to clown. Like again, like I'm
And he
down.
had more energy than anyone on set.
More
so the idea
energy.
that people younger to him, who
He ran
cares?
the
Like,
Boston Marathon with no fucking training. He has more energy than anyone I've ever met in my entire life. It's crazy. Crazy.
but so anyway, so we crew up. We get a crew of about 30 people. I forget. We have a cast of about 30 people. I'm dealing with getting permits and getting locations and getting food and making sure all that's set and getting money. And a lot of people probably listening and watching to this helped out. We did Indiegogo and raised, I think 2/3 of the money, and then I paid for the rest. Because like short films don't make money. All these festivals don't make money. The idea is like prove your work, prove you could do it, maybe sell a script and you could sort of make money, but it's more like you're selling the next script anyway. But we obviously we knew that going into it. And going back to the conversation of the strike, we got exceptional talent. We got talent that we never would have gotten. Like our script supervisor, Betty, was incredible. And also, again, because you're a first-time director, like having someone be like, nope, 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 yes, 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 and crushed it. Like we couldn't have like
Because
I
my
keep
brain space didn't have I was
yeah.
like, as a director, you should be watching for those things, but it's like I was also acting in it, so I'm worried about like acting stuff, and it was just like, thank God for her because she could like be that set of eyes.
Yeah. And we did, so it was three-day shoots. The last day was an overnight. So that day I was up for like 36 hours that shoot
That
because
was
I think
crazy. We also were like in the basement of this grocery store, and so like to come back out when it was like the sun was rising was insane.
but I
Like
think
in this air
it
conditioned grocery store.
it helped in some ways, I guess. You didn't even know you should be tired.
True, true. It felt like almost like Vegas, like how they pump oxygen. Like it felt
Oh
like
yeah.
that.
But I mean they might do it too. And also like again, like this is going back to like the job of the producer, like we when everyone showed up, Bonsai Sushi, shout out to you guys, you sent platters of sushi and like crew is not
That
used to
was
having platters of sushi ready to go on
really
any
nice.
set, no matter what the
Yeah.
fucking budget is. So to be able to be like, hey, I know it's an overnight, I know we're getting to the end of the shoot, everyone's tired and whatever, but
It was
here's
what is it?
sushi.
It's a moral. What is it? Morale. It like
Yeah.
got morale up.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Yes, exactly.
which was great.
Um,
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you for Bondi.
and we had Carrot Express one day for lunch. They were very sweet to us. Um, we had Joe's Pizza delivered to us like 3 in the morning that night.
Should we
Also,
also talk about how you had a really good idea, which was for like all the dating montage of all those like extras and everything. And I was like, we just needed to get funny little like samples, like things of them. And I could have written something for everyone, but you were like, no, just ask them like to tell you something that they nerd out about.
yeah.
Ask them to like explain, like mansplain to you, like a story about something that they just nerd out about. And so I did, and we got the funniest shit. Like it was so great.
Well, what's funny about that too is like, I haven't really been on set like that in forever. And there's a lot of people I haven't worked with. And like, it's especially as a producer, executive producer, like you're managing people. So you have to be very careful of like, you don't want to step on anyone's toes, especially first day there. And I remember first day there, I was like, I'm not even going to go on walkie. I'll be here. Anything needs anything, whatever, whatever. I mean, by day 3, I was like fucking in it. But one of the first things I have an idea because what happened, we did that idea, but all the men too were being very charming,
Yeah.
and I was like, but they're not supposed to be charming because it's supposed to be bad dates. So my note too was like, tell them to be less charming.
Well, they were supposed. It's supposed to be charming in the grand scheme of things,
Of
but
course,
in that
but
moment when you're on a date and you're like, "My God, we are not connected.
but
We are
what they were
not.
saying,
You are not it."
but my concern was like what most of it got cut out anyway, so it didn't really matter. We just ended up with like little snippets. But the concern was that what they were saying really, yes, we gave them direction of like mansplain somebody being nerdy, but there was no reason for you to take it as ugh. So it would just make you look like a bitch.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
we need something. Make sure they're telling stories that like give us a reason for you to sit there and be like, this is horrible.
Well,
Because they
and
weren't
also
doing
give
that.
off the feeling of the monotony of like when you go on
Yeah.
date after date after date after date. At a certain point, not only do they only blend together, but like there's only so much attention that you can give to all these dates of like pretending to care about whatever the fuck they're interested in.
Well, it's like when I did the New York Mag article about dating in New York, and they brought in all these past dates. I didn't necessarily remember everyone.
Yeah.
And one girl, we finished the photo shoot, and she was like, "You don't remember me, do?"
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And
Jeremy
I don't know.
was
I might have gone out with that girl 10 years prior, and I was like, "No." And she's like, "Fuck, I don't. Now I don't. I can't tell you." I mean, the
Wait,
post
how was it vetted that she definitely went on a date with you? What if she lied?
No, so what I did, should do a whole other podcast with this. So basically what New York Mag did was doing the retrospective of online dating. It's been 10 years at this point, this is a few years ago. They said to me, we'd love to do a photo shoot of everyone you've gone on an online date with. And I said to them, okay, here's what I could provide to you. I put everyone on my phone by how I met them. So I said, okay, Sarah H., I met on Hinge. It doesn't mean we went on a date, but at least I know I met her through Hinge. So I said, here's all my contacts of every girl at least I talked to, and then you guys could vet it. So did we go? So I don't know why these girls. I mean, I guess the girl could have lied to like get in the article, but they did interview them about going out with me, and they seem to have a better memory recollection than I did because
Wow.
I had nothing to say.
Wow.
So basically, so like this girl was like, "Oh, I walk by the bar every day, and I like think about the date we went on, and I just like you when you've gone on too many dates and you've had very similar dates, especially if you're online dating, you end up meeting very similar people. Like, yes, they do just kind of all blend into
Or
one, and that was
yeah.
what you were trying to get across, and I think we achieved that. So okay, so we film, we get it done, and the next step was post, and for post we had to hire Kate, who we mentioned was the editor, who was incredible, who just got it immediately, and again did us a huge fucking favor. Like she does large TV shows and movies or whatever, and like she again, we sent her a script. She really liked the script. They shape it as more than anyone almost, especially that first cut. Like
Yeah.
very rarely, it depends on the notes the director gives them. And again, it all depends on personalities and how they want to do things. But generally, the editors have the scripts, they have all the footage, they have all the notes from a script supervisor, they have whatever notes you want to give them, and then they just go for it, and then you kind of take it from there. But like we said, like we got it back, and it was there.
And it was also really interesting, like reasons why she would use certain takes of things. So I'd be like, I think the acting in this one was better, but she's like, but continuity wise, what's happening in this is actually, you see this hand and how in this split second I cannot cut this together due to the fact of this hand or whatever. Like I can't make it work. And she would try multiple different ways to make the puzzle piece work, but she couldn't. And then sometimes we'd be able to find a way to make something work, but it was really interesting to watch her reasons for it, which I think for my next project that I direct will make me a better director, because now I can actually think ahead to the edit and be like, oh, these are the things that an editor is looking at. And I think this entire experience was really interesting to me as a writer and an actor, because I think it just, first of all, as an actor, you are gate kept so much from things. I think as like for directing this, I was like, oh, the actor is like the last bit to be brought in, and there's so much you don't know and you don't understand. They keep it from you purposely, and I think it just, I don't know, seeing the entire process, the entire puzzle and everything, I think has made me approach things as an actor in a different way, because I'm now thinking about it from the whole angle, like from the whole piece rather than just acting. And I think writing too, I think I write now
Well,
for
look,
like a
that
directing.
was like when I was in TV, that was a huge thing. Every producer was like, you have to do post because it's going to make you a way better producer.
Yes, one that
Yeah.
like I was like, oh, this. I think the entire I've been telling all of my actually acting friends, I've been getting them into writing and getting them into like making their own things now. Like my friend Katie's about to make something, and my friend Michaela's about to direct it. But I'm like, it just teaches you so much. I think about, it's made me a way more confident actor, and I think it's also just, I look at a script and I look at script analysis differently now, and I don't know, like the entire thing has really helped.
Well, I mean, I think what was
Hello.
funny when we went through this, like when we were in Indy talking to other filmmakers there, of like the way we approach the films, and I think like this is why it kind of like worked between the two of us. We're like, you're analyzing the script, you're analyzing the acting, you're doing that. I'm like, did I like it? Cool. But I'm also more like, oh, I see how they made it. I see that decision. I know why they did that. Like when we spoke to those guys in India, I was talking to the other producer. I was like, dude, one location, three actors. Damn, you fucking crushed it. It was like, oh, thank you so much. Like that means a lot that you like, whatever. But like, those are things you have to think about because you can't make everything, especially nowadays
Right.
where like you do have to make more on your own. Like you got to
You look
strip
at
it
it
down.
more from like literally the technical point of view of producing, of just being like, oh,
Hmm.
what story wise aside, like you're like, I don't even know if I can connect to this. All I'm seeing is this multiple locations, multiple
Uh-huh.
actors, multiple days,
Hmm.
and I'm like, no story.
But like you could write fucking I don't know whatever you think is the greatest movie of all time, but like if we can't make it, what's the difference?
Well, Jeremy, listen, I gave you your one location short film.
That's true. But the good like again like thinking further for next projects like again like learning from is like okay what can we do with even smaller budget, knowing more, and again like relying on because at the end of the day as much as I'm looking at all those things it is no one watching it gives a shit about that like it is about story and acting and those things like that's actually what's going to make people enjoy it.
Because how many short
I'm an
films did we
idiot.
see at Indie that it's just kind of like, okay, but what is the story?
Right.
Why do we care?
Right, exactly. But anyway, so post hired Kate, amazing. We had a colorist, we had
Sound
a
designer?
sound designer, and we had a composer, and we hired another FX person. We had to
Yes,
hire an
right.
extra FX person, yeah.
Yeah.
And that took months of just the back of. I mean, it took us a while to find the people we wanted, and we weren't in a super rush anyway, so we knew we could take the time, and we fell in love with Kate, and we're like, we'll wait for Kate too. I think that delayed us a month, but obviously well worth it. Who fucking cares?
Can I
And she
actually
was
just
so
explain?
fast too.
Can I actually
Yeah.
explain on that a little bit? It's been interesting because I have some friends who are going through making their first short film, and they were asking me about it. They're like, and then post will take. They were like, we'll probably have this done by January because we'll finish filming in November, and then we'll just do post for December, and they'll be done by January. And I was like, no, no. I was like, unless these people have literally no other projects to do, but also December is holidays. So there's that. People are home with their families, and you can't ask them to work on these things. You're not Marvel. You're not like paying them a shitload of money where they can like fuck off from their families. And also, they might have other projects, but also the interviewing process of just finding someone who creatively aligns with you to actually schedule the first initial Zoom meeting of when you guys all are available to meet, and then giving them something, and then they have to take time to actually do the work of it, and then they give you their first pass, and then you look at it, and then you align on notes, and then you like meet with them again, and then you explain to them the notes, and then they do it again. Like there's like 4 or 5, like however many passes, and that takes weeks upon weeks for them to actually go through that. It takes you a long time to actually, I think, I think our composer and I think coloring took a bit because it was just notes passes and being like, okay, now tweak this, now tweak that. How do we find the vocabulary to like explain this to you? How do we like align,
I mean, even that final pass we did of Kate in my apartment, I was going to
took like 5 hours.
I was like, I can't watch this anymore.
Oh my, you couldn't watch it. I was watching myself, and I was like, my God, I want to throw myself out this window right now. Watch myself just be bad. God.
But we did eventually get the final cut finished, locked. And then it was the festival world, which is also a brand new thing. Because I think, like, even though you were more in it than me, and, I've, like, gone to Sundance a few times or whatever, we still had in our heads, like, we know the main 3.
I think most people know the main 3. And that was a learning curve of, like, I forget who suggested. A director friend of mine was like, there's this festival strategist you should talk to. And I was like, festival strategist? My God, what is this, like college admissions? You need a fucking coach for this? And you do. I mean, you don't need one, but like, if you don't know anything like us, Kimberly was so helpful in just explaining the landscape of things and explaining like where our film might fit best, and like when to apply and how to and what to put and what is this literally the strategy of it in order to get the most bang for your buck, I guess, because
right. And money. Also like, it's just like you could have the greatest film, but if it doesn't fit into what that festival is doing or wants to present that year, maybe they have a million other romantic comedies and they're already in there. It just doesn't fucking matter. Like, that's just how it is.
And it's really interesting to think about, like, I don't think I really thought of film festivals as their own business. I always thought they were, like, a vehicle for us, for filmmakers, which they are, but they are also trying to sell tickets. They're like a movie theater. They're trying to sell tickets to the population around them. So you have to think about, like, is your film something that the general public in that area of that film festival is going to want to buy tickets to, because they're a business at the end of the day where they're trying to actually get people to come see movies. It needs to be something that for that area they want to go see, which I think is actually something interesting politically and like socially to think about too.
Yeah, of course. But we did learn that there are a ton of them, and what we learned is that it was funny. Like, obviously, it took us so long just to get into anything. That was just sort of the timeline of when we finished and when we applied. Also, that played into it. But then, we got into Shorts Fest for the world premiere, and that is, we learned, like, a pretty prestigious one.
Yeah, it was really wonderful.
Be Oscar nominated from there, BAFTA nominated from there, which is like pretty insane. And then once we got into that one, it sort of felt like, the floodgates opening. And I think it took. I get it. Like, if you're watching all these films, yeah, you watch a million of them and you know what's good or not, but you might like question yourself. But as soon as we're in Indie Fest, the other festivals, we're like, this is good. Is it good? Oh wait, it's in Indie Fest. Okay, cool. And now we're being emailed to be like, could you please apply to our festival because we want to show your film.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of these submissions. We're getting, and we have like a lot of festivals we're still waiting on to hear from, but we've already gotten into, I think, like 10 of them. I don't even know. That are all pretty good. And so that's been really exciting, and that's been really, I think, assuring to hear that it's not all the hard work for naught.
Yeah, and it was sitting in that room. I know, like, when we're like jumping over the sort of film we did a year ago, but like that's like non-canon to me, so which is why we skipped all that. But watching that film at the Greenpoint Film Festival last year, like, you were like, I don't want to be there, I don't want to watch it, and I obviously felt nothing because I wasn't creatively involved in that one at all. Just
my first short. Okay, yeah. Okay,
yes, yeah. But like sitting in the theater in Indie, watching people like hoping they laughed at like the joke that we crafted, was so nerve-wracking.
And so for me, I think it's like not even like the jokes. To me, it was like more like the ride. Like Sandwich Line has the. I'm all about like musicality, and so I think like there's a slow and steady rise to the short film musicality wise. It starts off in a very melancholy place, and like it's a little funny. I think it's a little funnier. I think it's a little funnier. Then it gets funny. Do you know what I'm saying? And so it's like making sure everyone's like on the ride with you to get to that point, because it's all about, I don't know. I always think with like films, it's you're trying to make sure you're trying to like get little green lights from the audience along the way, so that to the point where they eventually are just like, yeah, just go, go, go. I don't know if
I
that makes any
mean,
sense, but
I will say though that like they didn't laugh
at you.
during my cameo, but
Right, yeah.
I think you know it is a little too New York for them. We were in
Yeah,
Indianapolis.
yeah,
It just
yeah.
didn't translate.
I think your accent was a little bit jarring for them, so maybe it was that. I don't think it was you, you know? I don't think it was, I don't think you should take it personally.
Definitely wasn't me. Audience, the audience is it's the principal Seymour Skinner Simpsons meme. It's like it's not it's a children's fault. It's like it's never your fault.
No, it's never your fault. It's 1000%. Yeah, it was the audience. It's interesting though. We've talked about like how, I again, there's different demographics. Like I remember like they would I remember Kimberly was like, I think Indy would really like yours. I think there's certain festivals that I think cater to something like a little weird. Sandwich Line's like a little weird. And she's like, but like then there's like Sundance that like they want to see like immigrant stories. They want to see like the heart-wrenching things, and like yours is just not that right now. And so it's like don't waste your money submitting to them, because like you don't have someone who's like an Oscar winner in it, because unfortunately I think that plays a thing, right? Like names
Hmm.
do bring in like tickets. And then also it's not like it's not Moonlight.
Yeah.
So just you have to think about your stuff in that kind in a marketing and distribution way almost,
Yeah, of course. I
which
mean
I don't
that's
think I
like
thought
everything.
about.
I mean that's like traditionally too. Like where's it playing? How's it doing? Where's what streaming app is it going to end up on, or whatever. I think it's like again like we did this so you could like learn the micro lessons that still apply no matter what you're making, which has been really interesting.
And it's
Um,
been super helpful. And I think what's also really interesting is like I made my first short film. My reps, my first short film was about like sexual harassment, and I think my reps were like, okay, it's good, okay. And I was like, oh, okay, you guys aren't like so excited about it. What the fuck ever. And then I made this one, and they were over the moon about it. They were so thrilled about it, and like so excited, and like just like freaking out about it. And I was like, really? Like, guys, it's like, I don't know. Like, to me, it was like a fun little comedy I decided to write. And like, I thought it was fun, but it's not my other one about sexual harassment and like in the workplace. And they were like, do you know how many people try and write their like Oscar like thing that's like, and it's like, it, we would much rather watch the comedy. We would much rather watch something that is like still making a statement, but in like a smart and funny way. Um, and I just thought that was really an interesting lesson.
yeah, and then so if anyone wants to watch it, we'll be both talking about it on Instagram, I guess, as it comes up. Thank God you kept track of it. Like I'm so good at keep track and stuff. I've lost track, but this weekend is the New York City premiere.
At the
At,
Chain Festival in
yeah,
New York.
and then playing across the country. I know, like off the top of my head,
I have it
Breckenridge,
up right here.
a few in
Uh,
LA. Yeah.
yeah, we're
Well,
gonna
wait,
be.
wait, before you say anything, there are some we're not allowed to announce. So don't. Do you remember which ones you're allowed to announce or
No
not?
idea. Could
So
not
let's
tell
not.
you.
So let's not read off that list.
Well, I'll tell you the big ones that I know we're gonna be.
Okay. All right. All right.
We're gonna be at the Burbank Film Festival in LA in September. I think it's September.
It's the 20th or something. I was just looking at those dates.
Well, it's gonna be at the Breckenridge Film Festival the 20th, September
Okay. Right.
20th, and then Burbank on the 26th or 27th. I believe we are. It's 9 p.m. on the 26th, which is a Friday, September 26th. And those are the two bigger ones that we're gonna be at. And I'll be at the Hudson Valley Film Festival in August. I'll be there, and then we got into some other ones recently, and I think we're waiting on some more.
Great. Any last words?
Jeremy, how was it working with me? And would you do another one of my short films or features?
Yeah, I mean, kind of going back to like what we were talking about, sort of like that balance of like you had no interest in what I was interested in, and I had interest. I did have interest in what you were interested in, but at the same time, I knew that was your responsibility. I wasn't gonna like butt my way into that, which I think is like what you want in the creative space. It's like you each know what you're best at, and not that you're not willing to help or willing to always do whatever, but like let you do your thing
And I
and
do
not
think
butt
I
heads.
taste like I think I'm realizing like a big thing in my life, a big thing that's coming up is like I need to respect your taste, and I do respect your taste, and I do think we have the same kind of taste, or and like you may think about it in a certain different way, but you know when something's good and when something's bad,
Right.
and you know why you like it and why you don't. And I don't think a lot of people know that, or I don't agree with their taste, and so like I think like us having the same
Uh,
taste was really helpful in like making something, because it's like if I'm like, ooh, I don't like that, you're like, I can see why. And if you like
yeah.
that, I can be like, I can see why.
I mean, I do think that like it would have been a more interesting post to me if we had time in the field, because I think you wanted to try and have a little more of just like, hey, go for it. Everyone else would have had more ideas of like, hey, let's try it this way, but we really couldn't. We had no
I
time.
I'm all
We had
about
to
the
do it the way it
acting.
was in the script. What's
Yeah,
that?
I'm all about the acting. So I would have
Yeah.
loved to experiment and improv and play. I had all these
Right.
ideas, but like truly, we had no fucking time, and I was like losing my goddamn
Right.
mind. I had only
But
a limited
but
amount
I
of
think that would
energy.
have been fun in post to be like, hey, we went really broad here. Does that work? Hey, we brought it back a little bit.
Yeah, to
Does like,
experiment.
yeah, exactly. Where like we did, but that saved us because like there was no conversation. It's like, well, here's the take, and here's what it
And
is.
I do think like a lesson I learned for like, especially if I ever want to like write, produce, and act and direct again, which I do, which I after I did this, I was like, I'm never gonna fucking do this again, and then now I'm like, no, I actually want to, and now I want to do a feature. But I do think it's like so helpful to be so specific and to know exactly what you want in every single moment of the script. You see it in your head, and if it deviates, if there's a happy surprise, that's really great. But I think like the key to it next time, I think for myself, which I'm learning, is like is to know every like to see the movie in your head before you like every fucking
I mean,
moment,
that was a
every line, know
conversation we had.
exactly what you
We had
wanted.
two of like when I was like, "Do you want a storyboard?" And you're like, "No," and I was like, "Well, that would help you like see it better." You know what I mean? And I mean, we're jumping around, we're going all over this now, but it made me think too of like all the research you did into like color theory and like all these things
Oh
that
my god,
like
that
are
was
such a
so
big part.
helpful.
Yeah.
Which, can
Mm-hmm.
I talk about that? Terrence was like, here are two books you should read. Terrence, our DP, because he's a genius. He was like, you should read these books on color theory. And I was like, why? And he was like, because it's really helpful. And I was like, well, I don't know. He's like, for costuming, for production design. I was like, but that's, I'm going to hire people. He's like, but it's helpful if you know it and you can communicate certain things. And it'll just help you kind of see your film better in your brain. And I read them and I was like, oh, I know how to, and it's all, to me, I think what subliminally makes a film better is all those little details.
Uh-huh.
Because I
Yep.
think when you now I can see a movie that hasn't had those details thought out, and I'm like, oh, this could have landed a lot more if just other things were thought about in a more, um, in a more thoughtful way, um, in a more artistic way. And I'm so thankful to him for doing that because it changed a lot for our film, I think.
All right, thank you, Jamie, again. I'm excited for all you guys to see the film. It's playing in film festivals for the next months. We're going cross country. We're going to be trying to go to as many as we can also. So the best way to keep track of it is I'll be announcing on stories when it's playing. So go to Instagram, watch the stories, see it, and hopefully you get to watch my film. And hopefully I get to meet you guys, and that'd be awesome. Okay, let's talk about what I'm into this week. So as of recording, I just got back from last night. I was at SummerSlam Night 2, and you guys know I'm a giant wrestling fan. And it was one of the best wrestling shows I've ever been to. I went with On Location, which is this incredible company that literally, like, they will make your dreams come true if you want to go to a sporting event. And I had the opportunity to work with them, and they knew I was a big wrestling fan. And, like, first class treatment all the way, first of all. We had this like 3 hour lounge with free alcohol and free food and superstars coming in and out. I got to meet Big Sexy, Kevin Nash, Diesel. This dude's the fucking man. If you don't know anything about him, he's he's a legend in the business. He's a legit 7 foot tall giant. I looked up to him, and I'm 6'4", and that does not happen that often. He retired many, many, many years ago. But if you see any of his social media at all, he is very outspoken politically, and that's actually what I thanked him for. I think, he knows we all love him as a wrestler, and I wanted to make sure that I paid respects, because I know it's not easy to be vocal online, and especially in the wrestling fan base, it's probably a little harder, and that was their little tiny mini conversation we had away from everything. I won't get into details, but I did want to thank him there and thank him here. He is one of the more vocal people, especially in the wrestling world, and I appreciate you, Kevin Nash. But then I also met Charlotte Flair, daughter of Ric Flair, current women's tag team champion. She was awesome. Quick little, handshake photo, whatever. But then we got to watch SummerSlam, and SummerSlam was incredible. I'm not going to go through match by match because I don't think this is a podcast for that. You guys might tune out immediately, but we got to see John Cena one last time. Got to see Cody Rhodes win the WWE Undisputed Championship. TLC was incredible. The Triple Threat for the Women's Championship was incredible. Dominic Mysterio's the future of the business. Jacob Fatu's the future of the business. What else am I missing? Oh my God, just like wrestling live, especially with that many people, it needs to be experienced. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, I think you should experience once, and I bet you're gonna walk away being a wrestling fan, because the energy, the excitement, the everything, like I'm like 12 hours away from it. I'm still jacked up. That's how awesome it was. So WWE SummerSlam was awesome. Thank you, WWE. Thank you, On Location. Great fucking day. I can't wait for everything else. And then, so I rewatched How I Met Your Mother, and I have so many thoughts. So I hadn't seen How I Met Your Mother since it went off the air. And I'm going to spoil the show, but god damn it, it went off the air years ago, and everyone knows the ending now. And walking away from it, I remember thinking, what a classic show, classic characters, so funny. Ending kind of ruined it. And I wanted to rewatch it because I was like, okay, now knowing what the ending is it going to spoil this experience over again? And my takeaways from the rewatch were this. I think, one, people are like kind of sensitive to the Barney character now. Even so, I got into it because I started going through the How We Made Your Mother podcast. Where they're talking about going through episode by episode. And they were like a little sensitive to like, oh, Barney, I don't know if we do this nowadays. Like, no. Barney's character was always supposed to be this way. Like, what's the best way to put it? Brash. Like, I mean, if you've seen the show, you know the character, and I think they're being a little sensitive to it. Like, oh, we couldn't get away with that nowadays. Yes, you can. It was still a CBS network show. I think people are being too sensitive to that character. I think that still holds up. I think that, like, overall, I did walk away liking Ted more. I kind of remember him like, always being in love with some girl besides Robin, and like, being annoying about it. But like, not really. I think that he actually spent most of the series being single. The relationships that he had up until Mother, I hated way more this time for some reason. And I kept thinking, like, was that purposefully done? Was that done because, like, truly that wasn't going to be the Mother? So, like, why would he have this, like, really great dynamic with everyone? But I felt no chemistry with Victoria a little bit. But, like, all the other arcs he had of all his other girlfriends, I thought that, like, there was no chemistry there, and I could never see them being together. And then, poof, bam, they're together, they're engaged, they're whatever. Ted did break up a lot of weddings. That wasn't great. That wasn't great at all. But then we get to the ending. And I guess I feel better about it. I do. The perspective changed a little bit where, like, they did too good of a job of having us fall in love with the Mother that last season, which is great. But their intention was, as his children point out in the last, was like, this was never a story about meeting our mom. This is a story about you being in love with Robin. And we could debate forever if that was the right call or not. But if that was the intention and that was what they were building towards, and that was what it was. And I guess that's then the ending we want, even if it means Barney kind of got screwed. Robin seems to be a little screwed. I mean, the mom died, so whatever. I guess she got screwed in the end, too. But I walked away a little bit better. I did walk away, though, feeling this was like, this happens with comedies, but I thought, like, towards season 6 and to season 6, I'm like, this isn't going well. Season 7 and 8 were some of the worst TV I've ever seen. They're just kind of crazy. And they must have realized that. It seemed like everyone was bored. It seemed like the writers were bored. It seemed like the actors were bored. It seemed like everybody was bored. And clearly they decided, like, we got to end this. And you could kind of see towards the end of season 8, they raced through stuff because they're like, we're going to get to season 9. We're bored with this format. We're going to do... Season 9 is going to be this over one wedding weekend the entire season. Switch the format out. We know it's ending. And there was, like, a real rejuvenation of the show. But, like, the flanderization of every character was, like, one of the worst I've ever seen in any TV show. And it became a bad show, which I don't remember. But I don't even remember any of those episodes. That must be how bad it was. Like, seasons 1 through 5, classics. And then 6, 7, 8, like, ugh. And then I really liked the final season. I think, like, there was a rejuvenation in it. But we got to an ending, and I feel fine about it. It still makes me sad. It doesn't make me angry anymore. I think I can still appreciate, like, one of the best shows of all time. But yeah, that was my convoluted, going in circles re-review of How I Met Your Mother, if that made any sense to you guys. I think if you watch the show, it made a lot of sense. I do a bad job at not explaining it, but a classic. Rewatch it. Took me about a month to rewatch it because there are 9 seasons, and this is network TV 9 seasons. So there's like 22 to 24 episodes in every single season, but a great show, a classic show, and very, very excited I got to rewatch it. Yeah, that's it. That's it. We got through another episode. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Appreciate you guys. Subscribe, do all those things, and I'll talk to you next time. See ya.